Monday, February 5th, 2025. Happy Monday, everybody. Before we dive on into this, do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section, all for the algorithm. But okay, let's get going. So, listen, I'm trying to navigate through this market. It is a very confusing market. There are incredible amounts of mixed signals communicating a couple things, communicating that we are heading much lower downward on a long enough timeline, whether that's medium term, end of the year, or a little bit longer than that. But also there's several things that you could say that would communicate bullishness. And the timelines don't quite align. I mean, that's the thing that is kind of bothering me right now is short term, yeah, things look bullish, okay? But medium term, there are mixed signals in terms of there are a lot of things, rest of this year, 2025, there's a lot of things I could point you that, hey, this looks bullish, and a lot of things that I could point to you that say, hey, every time this has happened, things have gotten bearish. And how do we navigate this? Well, one thing that I would say is I'm not getting too greedy with my positions. I make money, I exit. That's pretty much it. And this is more of a trader's market than a holder's market. I'm sorry to say. If you want to think of it through that perspective, what do? Instead of holding for a 10x or a 50x like you're accustomed to with crypto, perhaps hold for percentages. I mean, I've been saying that for a while. But otherwise, other than that, okay, we are starting here with North Star charts and then Tony the Bull Severino. Some comparable things between the two of these. They are not super bullish at the moment. They are not bullish when, soon. They will both be, they have both, they're long-term, not long-term, but they're just bears. They're regarded right now as bears. I don't know how else to put it. Okay. But right now, both of them have communicated some level of short-term bullishness. And so it's interesting to see that. North Star in particular is, what would you call him? Would you call him a bear, or would you call him a bull for gold? What I would say is that he's mega bearish with everything if you price that in gold. Okay, in dollars, who knows? But in gold, he's over the next several years, he's much more of a bull in gold, and he's made a very compelling case for that. But let's see what he has to say here. Keeping a close eye on Bitcoin. It'll be interesting to see if it tops out near the green line or pushes through for a more glorious end to this particular cycle. That's the name of the game right now. I've shared a similar chart here with Bitcoin. Is it going to push up to this trend line? That's when I'm going to get a lot more conservative. That's somewhere around, 110 to 120 and in the teens, something like that, dollars. Or would it have a big blow off top, end of the year? Really, I mean, according to this projection, it's not the end of the year. It's more like July, where we would see Bitcoin's price spike up. That would be max pain. That would be sell in May and go away and get wrecked because you went away in May kind of thing. And sure, between the two, I'll take the scenario B, where we have a blow off top when people least expect that. And right now, still, pain is to the upside because there are more people shorting than longing in the market right now. So we'll see where this takes us. But my opinion right now, at least, is we are going to get up to this green trend line and get rejected there and then move down and head for a bear market. But we will see. Like I said, conflicting information. Tony the Bull Severino, I love his stuff. Give him a follow. He gets a lot of hate for being for basically sharing just very level-headed stuff. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of indicators that he shares that I would say, yeah, that actually is a compelling case for why Bitcoin over the next few months should be moving down. But he's going to remain unbiased. And here's his most recent post. The Raging Bull is officially back in Bitcoin. Now, Raging Bull, things are looking bullish. Whether I like it or not, one of my algorithmic trading systems will buy Bitcoin if the weekly confirms this. I both do discretionary and non-discretionary trading. So one thing I love about this perspective is he has it set up to where he buys Bitcoin if the chart does a certain thing. That's That's not based off of his emotions or opinion. It's based off of his system. Sounds good to me. This is another reason why I took a discretionary short position, because failure to confirm this bullish signal here is a bearish signal in and of itself. Like any trading system, it isn't perfect and has generated false signals, the X, for example. So you can see several times where the arrow is pointing. Those are times where his algorithm would buy Bitcoin, and the X was a time when it didn't work out. I remember that. That was the Bitcoin conference. I was at the Bitcoin conference in July, and I very much did not believe in that pump up to $70,000. And then look where we went after that. We went down to 48 and change. But, 3 of the last 4 times that this indicator has signaled a time to buy, we went higher. So how much higher could we go? We'll see. But I have my opinions. Maybe it is in the 1 teens, or maybe we'd have that big blow off in a couple months, and then that would be it. I am not a bull for the end of the year still, but I am always open to changing my opinion on that. Next, Bitcoin dominance. Few see this, despite thousands of junk coins and endless calls for, quote, alt season. Bitcoin dominance has gone straight up this entire cycle, as we knew it would. I've never seen a single post from this person, but he knew it. So, and I'm not denying that at all. But now we're starting to see signs of acceleration in Bitcoin dominance. I will let you know when the time has come for this to go down. It will eventually for some time. Stay tuned. And so there's some things that I really found intriguing about this chart is look at the aggression to how Bitcoin climbed. In the bear market, Bitcoin dominance climbed significantly as Bitcoin was dumping. But then the bull run of 2020, 2021, Q4 of 2020, we got very aggressive with those climbs. It went almost vertical. And I remember that time. I was mostly in Bitcoin at that time, and I felt invincible. Let me tell you something. But then Bitcoin peaked in early 2021. Bitcoin dominance peaked in early 2021. And then we had this raging alt season. And so, here we are now. Will we have, look at the last couple months here. I would say if we could draw something here, it's looking very close to vertical with Bitcoin's dominance. And then maybe, hopefully, the stars would align for a peak in Bitcoin dominance and then a significant dump down where we'd see altcoins go crazy. We'll see. Again, I'm of the mindset that we will, upon crossing a new all-time high with Bitcoin, see Bitcoin's dominance come down for a bit, but it's not going to be anything comparable to alt season of 2021. One day when the stars align, in my opinion, but that time, unfortunately, I don't think it's now. I hope I'm wrong. Please let me be wrong. Glassnode. Long-term holders continue to accumulate with plus 254,000 Bitcoin aging beyond 155 days since the recent low. Many bought above 95K. Spending remains light, signaling renewed confidence and a lack of interest in de-risking at current prices. Here's the thing I want to point out from this is that Bitcoin tends to peak as long-term holder supply dumps. And so what happens? The price rises and the pressure on long-term holders to sell increases. Short-term holders are much more interested in buying as the price has risen, and so they buy. And so as things are rising, what does that mean for Bitcoin short-term? It's just something to keep in mind. Look at this rise in late 2024, third quarter of 2024, rose dramatically. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin dumped. Really, just Bitcoin chopped for a bit before putting in a higher high at the end of September, and then we were off. So maybe that's what we're going to be seeing sometime here soon, is once that rise completes itself, and then we would see a rolling over, and then we'd see a peak for Bitcoin. Something very much to pay attention to. Glassnode offers another chart here. Let me actually click on the tweet. Historically, long-term holders begin distributing more aggressively around a 350% unrealized profit margin, which aligns with a Bitcoin price of 99.9K. Let's break through 100K. As the market nears this level, increased sell-side pressure is likely. requiring strong demand to absorb it. Do we have what it takes this time around? Maybe with the institutions, maybe with the spot Bitcoin ETFs. We shall see. Moving on, what price will Bitcoin hit in May? This is from Polymarket. $110,000. A 31% chance, according to Polymarket, that we're going to hit $110,000 in May. A 55% chance that we're going to hit $105,000, and an 85% chance that we are going to hit $100,000. We'll see. Polymarket's been pretty accurate lately. That's the reason why I'm posting this. Is should we see $100,000 in May? I mean, it really shouldn't be that much of a surprise if we hit $100,000, given where we are right now with the price of Bitcoin. But pay attention to that. Now, on to the S&P, the stock market, the NASDAQ, etc. CAS here, after a perfect bounce off the midline of the monthly White Fork SPX, has rallied back into the golden pocket fib retrace between 0.618 and 0.65. I use the 0.66. That's between the 0.618 and the 702 perfectly. So is this it? If we had just had corrective waves A and B, then C could drop to the 4,300 range, which lines up perfectly with the red fork. So is this a local top in the S&P 500? We are really close to some key levels. I drew this fib chart out. I forgot to mention this when I went live with Devin on Friday. But just look at where we are. So the 200-day moving average, I've already mentioned that is a major, major level that if we were to break that, my goodness, it would be huge. And not just a little bit of a bull trap above, but a confirmed break through that and then on our way to a V-shaped recovery. But this level of resistance is going to be enormous. I mean, look at this. The 702 is right just barely above the 200-day moving average. So we are right now, S&P 500, in this golden pocket. I wouldn't mind if there was a little bit of an opportunity to just chop here a little bit and have Bitcoin continue to climb. And then, if we were to get rejected there, get rejected. But otherwise, just time to be a little bit more, more conservative. A little bit more conservative. Next, we have a more bullish post from Ryan Dietrich, CMT. One of the reasons we said the lows were in before this 8-day win streak was how well breadth was holding up. Now we have new highs for the S&P 500, A/D line. Another clue the worst is over. Breadth leads price, and it would be perfectly normal to see new highs in the S&P 500. So what's he talking about with breadth? If you don't know what breadth is, we had the exact opposite of breadth in the market in 2024. We saw the Magnificent Seven do well, and the rest of the stock market not do as well. We saw Bitcoin do well, and the rest of the crypto market not do so well. So what we're seeing right now is more strength in non-Magnificent Seven stocks. That's a good sign that maybe the bottom is in. But like I said, lots of conflicting information between markets. And so we're going to have to wait and see on that. Next, short term. The NASDAQ is getting very overbought now. So when was the last time the NASDAQ was this overbought? Late 2022. And here we are. I mean, it has been several days in a row of up only for the NASDAQ, for the S&P 500. This is getting into, again, a little bit of a territory that I would say let's hold off on making excessively high purchases. That might just be short term, or it might be a longer period of time. But I think, we're due in stocks and in crypto for some kind of a pullback. We could go higher for longer, for sure. And I would say, for sure, from my perspective, certain cryptos have done much better than I thought they would. But moving on, Nvidia, 71 target. Sorry, bulls. I tend to agree with this. And I'm sorry, guys. I mean, Nvidia is a stock that is in a clear bear market, consistently putting in lower highs and lower lows. And the question now is given where Nvidia is, it did not put in a higher high, but it did, maybe that's a higher. No, that's just all higher highs there. So now does it roll over? Does it continue to go lower? In my opinion, my answer to that question would be yes. Could it get down to $72? Maybe. And what does that mean for AI cryptos? AI cryptos have been doing very well lately. I don't know. but we will see. Moving on. Another thing that I'm just like, okay, what do we do with this information? U.S. excess savings are completely gone. From March 2020 until October 2021, $2.1 trillion in excess savings were built up after historic stimulus. Since then, U.S. households have depleted these savings and even more, which brought the total level down to negative $900 billion. So this is where we are with excess savings in the United States. Something's going to break, right? Something, maybe not. Maybe institutions will continue to invest like crazy in the market, but institutional investors are much more bearish than retail investors. So where do we go from here? One more thing, one more non-exciting thing, and this is how we're going to close the video. Kobeissi letter. The ISM manufacturing PMI index fell to 48.7 in April, the lowest since November 2024. This marks the second consecutive monthly contraction. New orders increased 2 points to 47.2, but have remained below 50 for the third straight month. Concerningly, the ISM business production index topped 4.3 points to 44, the lowest since May 2020. In the past, such a low level of production has only been seen in economic downturns. The U.S. manufacturing sector is struggling. The reason why I bring this up is because if any of you follow Raoul Pal, and I know many of you do, this is the big thing that he pays attention to. Now, I have not seen a bearish post from Raoul Pal. I mean, I know I've seen recently a chart showing Bitcoin following liquidity, following global M2, and he's claiming that we're going to continue to follow that. I've made some rebuttals to that. I tend to think that if Bitcoin is going to get up above a new all-time high, that it'll start deviating from that projection of $140,000 Bitcoin in July, and that it would get rejected sooner than there and move lower. And if there's going to be some intellectual honesty here with Raoul Pal, I would hope that he would see what's going on with manufacturing and at least adjust his expectations. Now, like I said, there's plenty of things that communicate bullishness, plenty of things that communicate bearishness. This is in particular a thing that communicates bearishness. So be it. Very confusing market. We'll see where we go from here. But anyway, that is all I have for today. If you got any value from this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. We are doing this every day, 6 a.m. Eastern time on the dot. And there's always lots and lots of stuff to cover, and would love to be a part of your day. But anyway, have a great day, a great rest of your week. I will see you in another video. Peace.